happy Monday. We're back again to do some crime and conviction. Intro. So guys, happy Monday. I hope everyone's weekend was wonderful. And while researching someone to do for this case, right, I was like, it's been a little minute since I've done something on a female, right? Unfortunately, this is not a Jamaican story, but it's still interesting, and I hope you guys enjoy it as much as I enjoyed it. And trust me, when I say that this girl is a mad girl, this girl is like the boss of all mad girls. When you have defeated all of the other mad girls, she is left. You understand? For those who play video games, y'all understand what I'm saying. If you don't, just know that she is level 10 and everybody else mad girl they're on level probably 5. So we're gonna speak about Jodi Arias. Am I saying her last name right? No, I've watched so many documentaries. I know for a fact that I'm saying her name right. So before we jump right into it, please click the link in my description and it will take you to my new podcast. I had my first episode last week, Wednesday the 11th. No, it's not true crime related. This week's topic is a search phone argument. Last week's topic was about crushes. It's usually done live and you guys can call in and whatever. But if you don't get the opportunity to call in, that's fine. The recording itself is on the app. So go and check that out. Alright, so back to true crime, because that's why we're here. So let us jump right into the story. Jodi Arias was born on July 9th, 1980 in California. And according to her, her childhood was not that great. At around age 7, her dad became really abusive. He would push her around and both her parents would beat her with belts and sometimes even wooden spoons. She dropped out of high school at around grade 11, but she later earned her GED. She also developed a love for photography at about age 10, and she took this on throughout her teenage years and she turned it into a profession. She took several jobs as a part-time photographer, but sometimes your passion does not pay the bills. Trust me, I know. So she took a job as a server in a Californian restaurant. This was in 2001. She also met up with the food and beverage manager, Darrell Brewer. They met when she was 21 and he was 40. He was in charge of training and hiring the staff. Also, they were living in staff housing, so they kind of grew closer. And in 2003, they decided to be a couple. However, the two were sexual before they decided to make it official. In 2005, the couple decided to move out of staff housing and buy a house together and split the mortgage. In February 2006, while Jodi was still working at the restaurant, she got a job at Prepaid Legal Services. While she was at this new job, still working at the restaurant, mind you, she got involved in the Mormon religion and she would have persons over for Bible study and she would join in group prayer sessions. In May, Jodi told Darrell that she no longer wanted a physical relationship with him. She wanted to practice the teachings of the church and save herself for her future husband. Strangely enough, around this time, she decided to get breast implants. I'm not judging. Okay, I'm judging. According to Darrell, she got a bit more involved in her new job and she became financially irresponsible and she was even neglecting to pay her half of the mortgage. As the relationship deteriorated, Darrell decided that he was going to move out and move closer to his son, and Jodi was going to stay in the house. However, she was supposed to stay there until the house got sold. The next year, the house went into foreclosure. That simply means that Jodi was literally not paying squat. Even though their relationship ended in December 2006, Jodi and Darrell remained friends and they would text and they would call each other occasionally. In September of 2006, Jodi was 26 years old. She was still working for Prepaid Legal and she was trying to build her photography business. She traveled to Las Vegas to a conference that was happening for Prepaid Legal, and there she met Travis Alexander. One of his friends introduced the pair. There was an immediate attraction between them, and according to Jodi, they became sexual a week after meeting. Let's take a little break right here and talk about Travis for a minute. Travis was born on July 28th, 1977, and he was also from California, but Riverside. Unfortunately, when Travis was 11, his father died and he had to move in with his grandmother, who was his father's mother. His grandmother brought him and his siblings into the Mormon church, and from that day on, he practiced the faith. By the time Travis met Jodi, he was 28 years old. He also works at Prepaid Legal, and he was a motivational speaker. Unfortunately, for Travis that is, falling for Jodi would be the biggest mistake of his life. So they met each other. It was an instant attraction. The couple would travel together to many states, and when they weren't traveling, they would speak daily over the phone and they would exchange emails. It was a lot of emails. It was about 82,000 emails. On November 26th, 2006, just a few months after meeting Travis, Jodi got baptized into the Mormon faith. And right beside her was Travis. Around this time, the pair began to date exclusively. Now, his friends and his family knew about Jodi, but one thing that they did not know was that these two were sexual, and this was going against his Mormon faith because sex before marriage was a huge no-no. Jodi also began to be a little possessive of Travis, and also she showed her jealous streak. She didn't like when he was talking to other women, and she just always wanted to be there with Travis. Mind you, this was a long distance relationship. He was living in Arizona, she was living hours away in California. His friends actually said that they picked up that something was a bit wrong about the relationship, and they thought that Jodi was a bit weird or strange. So one day when Travis and Jodi were over one of their friends' houses, or I think their friends were over his house, they had a little intervention and they brought him to a room and they were telling him that, you know, the relationship is weird and she's a bit weird and it's a bit strange and tumultuous, so y'all need to break up. And funny enough, Jodi was behind the door listening to everything that was being said. So one of his friends picked up that there was someone behind the door, and they told Travis, they're just like, yo, Jodi's behind the door. And when Travis opened the door, she didn't even flinch. She was just standing there staring at them. And one of his friends said that the way that she looked, it was just pure evil. They continued to date even after that incident, and you know, even after his friends were saying, yo, things are a bit weird and whatever. When you like someone, you like someone. So they continued to date and they continued to be intimate. However, the official relationship lasted about 4 or 5 months. According to Jodi, she couldn't trust him, and that's why the relationship ended in 2007. But, you know, the world may never know why the relationship actually ended. However, even though they broke up, they were still getting freaky. So after the breakup, Jodi moved to Arizona to be closer to her now ex-boyfriend. And this is when the stalking began. So by now the relationship has ended and everything, and Travis has now found some interest in a female called Lisa. But Travis and Lisa started to receive some anonymous threatening emails. Also, Travis' tires got slashed twice. He did confront Jodi about this, but obviously the mad girl denied it. In addition to that, which we don't know if Jodi did it, but let's be honest, she did it. So she would show up to his house unannounced. She would sneak into his house through the garage. She actually had the code for it, so she just type in the code, go inside when he's sleeping. Sometimes she even snuck through the doggy door, and sometimes she just cuddle up in his bed, and he would be angry at times, and sometimes he would just jump right into the bed with her, and they would have some good, fun, freaky time. So despite the stalking, despite the sneaking in, despite the crocus bag of madness that this woman was doing, Travis decided to still be intimate with her. Even in March 2008, they traveled together. Jodi claimed that she was his secret girlfriend, like they were still in a relationship, but you know, they were being all secretive about it and whatever. And then she said that she was tired of being his secret girlfriend. So eventually her roommate got married, the roommate that she was living with in Arizona, and she decided to move back to California with her grandparents. And in her words, she said that they needed a break, they needed to be apart from each other. So Jodi's back in California, and Travis realizes that his Facebook is hacked and his bank accounts have been hacked. So of course he accuses Jodi. He says he's finished, he's done, he no longer wants her in his life, and he seems to be moving on. He found a new love interest, Mimi, and Jodi seemed to have found a new love interest as well, and everything seems fine and alright. But that was a lie. They couldn't stay away from each other. They were talking on the phone every day, they were texting every day, they were having constant phone sex, and strangely enough, Jodi started to record her conversations with Travis. We don't know why, we can only speculate, and I think that maybe she was going to use these phone conversations against him eventually. Maybe blackmail him. Early June 2008 arrives, and Travis plans to take Mimi on an all-expense paid trip to Cancun. Well, originally the trip was supposed to be for Jodi and Travis, but you know, Jodi went and it up for herself, you know. June 4th, 2008. Travis missed an important conference call that is so unlike Travis. And on June 9th, after days without communication, a group of his friends decided to pull up at his house to find out what is happening. His roommate, that had not seen him for a few days, simply thought that he was out of town, because when his friends asked him where Travis was, he said that Travis had gone to Mexico. And Mimi was standing right there, and Mimi said, no, Travis is supposed to go to Mexico with me, and that's tomorrow. So where is Travis? His friends and his roommate then found a spare key to his bedroom, and they went up there to, you know, find out what's happening. When they got inside, the hall leading up to his master bedroom, there was pools of blood, there was blood on the wall, and when they went into the bathroom, Travis was lifeless in the shower. When his friends called 911, the operator asked if he was suicidal, which he was not, and then she went on to ask if he had any enemies or if there was anyone that would harm him. And the friend that was on the phone did not hesitate to say Jodi Arias. When the police got to the home, you know, gathering evidence and everything, they found the most important piece of evidence. They found a recently purchased digital camera in the washing machine. Why would someone throw away a perfectly good new digital camera? When the police had these photos from the digital camera recovered, because most of them were deleted, This was like the nail in the coffin. They saw Jodi and Travis in very suggestive photographs. Let's just leave it at that. And the best part about that was that the photos were all time-stamped. The first photo was taken at 1:40 p.m. on June 4th, and the last photo, well, the last photo of Travis alive was taken at 5:29 p.m. The photograph after that was pretty disturbing. It showed someone laying on the floor, thought to be Travis, bleeding profusely. A bloody palm print found on the wall of the bathroom hall was tested, and it had both persons' DNA. When police questioned Jodi the first time, she did not know that they had the pictures, and she said, you know, she did not see Travis that day, and she had not seen Travis since March. Obviously, the police knew that this was a lie, but they let her go, and then on September 5th, she was formally arrested. Jodi pled not guilty on September 11th. Now, Jodi gave different stories, about 2 different stories, but again, she did not know that the authorities had the pictures and the timestamps and everything. So her first story, which I already said, was that she literally did not see this man since March, and she wasn't even in Arizona. The second story that she gave was, yes, she did go over to his house that night. They had sex, and then 2 intruders broke into the house. They killed Travis, and they attacked her, but she escaped. She drove home, and she said this to nobody. After she heard that something happened to Travis, she called the police station trying to find out more information, but yet she did not talk about the intruder story. During the time of her arrest and everything, she gave multiple jailhouse interviews, and she gave conflicting stories. Like, girl, just get one story and stick to it. Anyways, 2 years later, after her initial arrest, she finally told the police that yes, she killed Travis, but she flipped the script and she said that she killed him in self-defense. We will get into her self-defense plea later on when we talk about the trial, but let me tell you guys what Jodi was up to before the murder. In May, Jodi's grandparents' house was robbed, and amongst the other items that were missing, a .25 caliber automatic pistol was never recovered. Now I want you guys to remember that, because it will be brought up again and it will be very important. On June 2nd, between 1 and 3 p.m., Jodi called Travis about 4 times, but none of the calls were answered based on the duration of the calls. After 3 a.m., Travis called her back, and one of the conversations lasted for 18 minutes and the other conversation lasted for about 40 minutes. At 4:03 a.m., she called him back one more time, and that conversation lasted for 3 minutes. We don't know what exactly they spoke about, but that happened. At 8 a.m. the same day, she rented a car to drive to Utah because she had a conference there, and she was also going to visit her new man, Ryan. She was supposed to arrive in Utah on the 4th, but she was a whole day late. When she did arrive, her blonde hair was now dark brown, and she also had cuts and bruises on her arm, and she was all bandaged up. Ryan also tried calling her a few times because, you know, you're supposed to be here on a certain day, but he said that her phone went straight to voicemail. Her explanation for this was that she got lost and her phone died. When the car was returned on June 7th, all of the floor mats were missing, and the employees described Kool-Aid stains on the seats, but unfortunately the car was cleaned and police could not test these Kool-Aid stains. A few weeks after the murder, before she was arrested of course, Jodi attended a memorial service for Travis. She wrote a lengthy sympathetic letter for his grandmother. She sent flowers to his family, and she even posted on her MySpace profile. So now that everybody's up to speed with what Jodi was doing, it's time for the trial. January 2nd, 2013, over 4 years after the crime had been committed. Jodi walked on into the courtroom with her brown hair, and she was wearing a pair of glasses that persons remarked that they've never seen her in before. So it was obvious that she was trying to make herself look a bit more innocent for her trial. Jodi's defense team argued that she killed him in self-defense. But here's how Travis died. He was stabbed 27 times and he was shot in the head. Also, a 2.5 caliber round was found in the bathroom. The same bathroom that was the murder scene. This round matched the weapon that was stolen about a month earlier from her grandparents' house. Her team also made it a point of duty to paint Travis in a bad light. They made him seem like a sexual deviant. They made him seem like he was controlling, and also she said that he was abusive, both verbally and physically. She then spent 18 days on the witness stand talking about her childhood trauma, which was the abuse from her parents. She spoke about very intimate details about her and Travis's sex life, and she spoke about the relationship and how he got abusive and controlling and everything. Her trial was live streamed and it gained even more attention than it already did because the trial did get quite a bit of attention. So after 15 hours of deliberation, she was found guilty on first-degree murder. On April 13th, 2015, she was sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. Okay, so now during the trial and after the trial, it was just a whole circus. She had a Twitter page which she had another inmate running for her. Her lawyer tried his best to get out of the case, but he could not get out of the case. When the trial was finished, he found out that he had cancer, and he actually blamed the cancer on the stress of Jodi's case, saying, you know, it was so stressful and everything. Then the same lawyer, he wrote a book, and Jodi sued him. He lost his license to practice law. Well, he could have fought for it, but then he said he lost his passion, so it made no sense for him to fight for something that he was no longer interested in. So it was like a whole drama. That's the best way that I can describe it. There were persons that are part of the public that were coming out in Jodi's defense, and they were saying, why is she even locked up in the first place? This man was abusing her. It was self-defense. Doesn't sound like self-defense to me, but like, it was a whole media frenzy. That's all I can call it. Now Jodi sits in prison and she is a high-risk prisoner. She also tried appealing her case multiple times, but as of March 2020, it is solidified and cemented that Jodi will not be stepping a foot out of prison ever. She will spend her natural life in prison. She does sketches and illustrations from behind bars, which she sells online. I tried to find them, but I couldn't find them. I don't know if they're still being sold. I really don't know. And also, she's not a very well-liked prisoner, which I'm kind of not surprised. But it is time for my thoughts. In no way, shape, or form am I justifying what she did to Travis. To be honest, I think that it's overkill, and I just have this girl off as a mad girl from the jump. But Travis played a part in this, and let me tell you why. He led her on. and he encouraged her. She was doing all of this craziness, she was doing all of this madness. She slashed their tire. Okay, you're not sure if it's her, but what you're sure of is this girl sneaking into your house while you are sleeping. Sometimes you'd come home and find her. Sometimes you'd be upset about it, and then sometimes you'd jump right into bed with her. That is so misleading. And no, I'm not saying what had happened he deserved it or anything. I don't think that he deserved it, but again, he encouraged this type of behavior. And when I'm watching some of the documentaries and stuff like that, they put everything on Jodi and made it seem like she was a seductress, she was the demon, she was his kryptonite, when that wasn't the case, because this man was not helpless. He had a choice. Even when he was moving on with Mimi, he still had Jodi in his back pocket. Secondly, if she was being abused as she said, she could have left. You understand? Especially when she moved away, she moved far away, she was hours away, she moved back to California. This man did not have a grip on you. This man is not coming down to California to see you. So why is it you were still in contact with him, this abusive man, as you say? That does sit well with my spirit. But bringing the gun there in the first place, for me, driving all the way there, bringing the gun there and everything, that just really suspicious. And the last thing that I have to say is we will never really and truly know what happened on June 4th, 2008. The way the evidence is set up, I believe that yes, it was premeditated. I really and truly believe that she went there to offer him sex and maybe offer him an ultimatum, because now he's taking a whole new woman on a trip that you were supposed to be on. So maybe she went there to show him what he's missing or something, and when she asked him, you know, can I go on the trip instead, or will you drop Mimi or something, she got upset with his answer. Maybe his answer wasn't favorable to her, or maybe it was a case where no matter what the outcome would have been, she was going to kill him. Maybe she just got sick and tired. That is all I have for you guys today on this here crime and conviction. As per usual, I will be linking my sources below in the description box. And remember, I said this in the first part of the video, go and check out my podcast, go and subscribe to it, and we're gonna have some fun over there. And you can follow my social media links as well. If you're new here, please subscribe, please like, please share this video, and if you have any thoughts, y'all can always leave the thoughts down below in the comments. I love to hear them. I know that sometimes my thoughts differ from yours, but 7 different brothers, 7 different minds. So let us agree to disagree, alright? Thank you guys so much for watching, and remember to be a beautiful soul, not just a gorgeous face. And until next time, mwah, bye. Jodi got baptized. Bap. Bap, bap, bap. Got it, bap.